Game On. Presented by Spectrum Sports.
And a very pleasant good evening from the Stan Sheriff Center in Manoa, where it's the final night of the Raising Canes Classic as the #1 ranked University of Hawaii Rainbow Warriors take on the Lopes of Grand Canyon. And this is Game On, presented by Spectrum Sports for Rainbow Warrior Volleyball. Hi, everybody. Scott Robbs, Lisa Strand, Ma'a, and Ryan Clay Suji. Thank you for joining us on this kind of wet, windy, and chilly Saturday night in Manoa. Hawaii, though, red hot, off to a 4-0 start here to begin the 2020 campaign, and 2-0 so far in the tournament with a 3-set win against Emmanuel on Thursday. Last night, another 3-set victory over Harvard. So far, so good for the Rainbow Warriors. So it's time now to crank up our peak performance, brought to you by Bank of Hawaii. And Lisa, who has been your peak performer through the first two nights?
Well, I'd have to go with Colton Cowell. I think this young man, the fifth-year senior, has just been dominating offensively. He's just like a completely different player, coming out of the backcourt, connecting left and right. Last night, 13 kills over the top, down the line, out of the backcourt, jump serving, playing defense. Pretty phenomenal evening for this young man.
Yeah, I have to agree. Colton Cowell did a fantastic job of really just helping to keep Hawaii offensively a strong threat. My impact player would have to be Jeremy Voss. I thought that he had a quiet night, but still he put up some pretty impressive numbers. 5 kills on 8 attempts, hitting .625. You got also see he was in on 2 blocks. This is the reigning freshman of the week in the Big West Conference, and really helping to solidify himself as one of the premier blockers in the conference. He's only a freshman, and he will only continue to get better as his connection improves with his setter.
Well, so far this weekend, kind of a tale of two different matches. On Thursday, going against an underman Emmanuel, we saw 20 Rainbow Warriors get a chance. But last night, Hawaii took on a pretty good Harvard team. We saw 10 Rainbow Warriors play with the same result. And you brought this up in the postgame, Lisa. Hawaii has yet to yield more than 20 points or more in a single set yet.
Well, it's pretty amazing. I mean, they've had 4 wins, and they've all been sweeps. They've kept their opponents to 20 points or less. And that's pretty dominating. Again, they've brought in different teams from different conferences, if you will. But this team has, you got to remember, 4 returning starters, 3 All-Americans. They're pretty solid in the base. And then they've basically reloaded as you take a look at Patrick Gassman, 6'10", All-American.
You know, I think it's really about finding that balance between playing your starters and playing your bench, because yes, it's great to get 20 players into a match, but at the same time, you also want to use these game opportunities for your starters to really gel and to really be under pressure and find different situations where they are challenged. Again, you know, you look out throughout the country, there's a bunch of upsets happening. A lot of these top 20 teams are playing each other right now, and Hawaii starters, they're playing a few sets here and there. They're not necessarily getting the opportunity to really showcase all of their talents and be challenged because of the fact that the opponent's on the other side of the net. So I think it's a blessing and a curse. I think it's great that they're getting other people involved, but at the same time, it would be nice, and last night was nice to see the starters get to gel a little bit more together.
And the good thing with the way the schedule is set up, at least here in the first couple of matches, it's an opportunity for first-year setter Jakob Tella to get his legs underneath him. We saw him open up the offense a little bit more against Harvard last night than what we had seen prior.
Well, in my opinion, he's already improved. You can see that they're going back and working on those little things, specifically that Bick, setting that back row, and also with the middle attackers. Last night, he had some really great connections. So it seems like he's solidifying himself, but also just getting more confident, knowing that he's the starting setter.
You know, later on next week, Hawaii will be on the road for the first time this season. They'll take on a couple of ranked teams back in the Midwestern part of the country. And we got a chance to talk to Charlie about how he puts together his schedule.
You know, obviously people like to come out here, but there is a financial component that doesn't allow for just everybody to come whenever. And you know, we do, when we're running a tournament like this, we do like to get people from different leagues. You know, it kind of helps with everybody's RPI. And you know, the one good thing about the scheduling, because there's so many non-conference matches that we have to fill, that we are getting in multi-year agreements where guys are, you know, coming back and we're going, and so it's that part has helped, kind of having a little bit of knowledge in the future going forward. But you know, these are guys that we've just continued to be in contact with, especially Harvard. They've been out before. Grand Canyon's been out here a handful of times, and they really like coming out. So, we're glad to have them and think it's going to be a good event.
Well, let's take a look at that upcoming schedule. You see tonight, obviously, Grand Canyon, then the trip to the Midwest against number 6 Lewis, number 11 Loyola, at Lincoln Memorial, at King, before coming home for another tournament on February 6th. And, times have really changed for this men's volleyball program. Back in the day when they were in the MPSF, you had the outrigger, and then conference started the next week. Now, because of the Big West and not as many teams, we're getting a chance to see a lot more non-conference opponents and a lot more new teams as well.
Well, the conferences, when it split from the Mountain Pacific League to the Big West, which is what Hawaii's in now, definitely changed it around. And so they're playing a lot more teams. They're traveling a lot more. And then at the very end of the season, they all come into the national championship. But the growth of the sport is really what has changed. There's so many more teams participating in volleyball.
I think one of the things that really will help Hawaii is the opportunity to travel and to go further than just California and maybe go to those countries, states on the East Coast and be able to be challenged and have to figure out the timing and adjustment. It also is an opportunity to build team chemistry on the road. Oftentimes, the true identity of a team is really revealed when the guys are together on the road for a few weeks and they're really having to be in the same quarters with each other. So it's much more than the competition on the other side of the net. It's also about how do you build that overall team morale and team chemistry. And road trips are a great opportunity to do that, and Hawaii will have that opportunity next week.
And also, when you talk to Charlie, there's a method to his scheduling, right? Because he is all uber aware of the RPI, and he has that in the back of his mind before every season when he's trying to figure out who he wants to play that season.
And they have to really look far ahead into the schedule to do that. They've got to look at who's going to be ranked, who they have returning, how they can travel, how they can do the preseason. Also, just running these tournaments. This is no easy foe to get these teams to commit early without knowing how competitive these teams truly will be 2-3 years down the road.
And I think all in all, it helps to grow the game. It's an opportunity for these teams to see what volleyball is like played here in one of the best environments in college volleyball and be able to take some of the things that they're seeing here and hopefully incorporate that into their program. But I think it goes a lot to say what Charlie's had to do is really try to find a way to navigate through this growing sport and be able to balance that tie with keeping his team sharp and finding ways to keep the competitive teams coming and playing each other while also expanding and playing the teams that maybe aren't as competitive.
As a volleyball fan, I like getting a chance to see teams that we don't see, like a Charleston or Emmanuel. Now, obviously, they're not the same level as the University of Hawaii, but it's fun to see somebody different once in a while.
Oh, no, absolutely. For years, we just saw the same olds, the UCLAs, the Pepperdynes, the Stanfords. But now it has significantly changed, and these other programs are continuing to evolve and get better and getting bigger and getting stronger.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that to some degree, but I also think that it's nice to have those fun matches. I mean, I remember growing up and watching UCLA every year in the outrigger and BYU coming to town. I mean, I think that's what fans look forward to, and they like that excitement. The reality is, though, that's not going to happen. And you look at the women's side, that certainly does not happen. I mean, in order to grow the sport, you're going to have to find ways to bring other people in. You're not having those top 10 teams play each other and beat up on each other every night. So things have evolved, and it's sort of mirroring the schedules and what we see in the women's game.
Yep, and tonight it is the Antelopes, or Lopes as they like to be called, of Grand Canyon University. All right, when we come back, we're going to hear from Colton Cowell, but catch the greatest plays, biggest blocks, and schedule info by following Spec Sports High on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You're watching Game On. And welcome back inside the stand. Sheriff Center, number 1 Hawaii, Grand Canyon. There you see Colton Cowell, one of the local boys on this year's University of Hawaii men's volleyball team, the pride of Makawao. And there you see he has started all 4 matches this season so far, hitting .414, 3.70 kills per set. And for Cowell, he takes a lot of pride in being from Hawaii and repping the University of Hawaii.
I grew up on Maui, and it's a very small island, and I was, raised by my community there. It wasn't just my family, because that's how Hawaii is. You're raised by everybody. Everyone's your auntie, everyone's your uncle. And then, of course, coming here to play is the best place to play volleyball on the planet. The Stan Sheriff Center, there isn't a more empowering group of people, a community that comes and shows their support to each and every one of us on on the competition nights.
I know this year for him is going to be special in a lot of different ways, and not the least of which is what he can do statistically on a volleyball court. But for him, just evolving and being a leader and really taking a lot of emotional responsibility for how the team performs, it means a lot to him. You know, him representing the state of Hawaii and being from here, he takes it very seriously on how the team performs and ultimately how good we're going to be.
Having those leaders last year and those upperclassmen last year was really influential to me, to seeing what kind of leader I wanted to evolve into. Being lesser in stature than a lot of my counterparts has taught me to prioritize different aspects of the game that have allowed me to be successful. Obviously, focusing on ball control and that first pass has been really important, along with just simply growing stronger, working really hard in the weight room to develop more physically, because if I couldn't grow vertically, in terms of my physical height, I had to increase my vertical jump.
All right, time now to weigh in, brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank, and we want to talk about Colton Cowell, the development of the young man, his impact, but we also want to make mention, we saw him go down a little bit with a slight injury at the end of the third set last night. We had him on the post-game show, but for precautionary reasons, he's not going to play tonight.
Yeah, I talked to head coach Charlie Wade before the match. Looks like it is a calf injury and something that he has been dealing with it, and so they're going to hold him out and hope for the best. Again, this is a team that's going to go on the road, and I think a team that needs Colton Cowell in the lineup. I mean, we saw the offensive numbers that he produces, but more than that, just his overall ability to pass and play defense, something that he has worked extremely hard on. A player that has experienced opportunities to play on the beach, to play indoors internationally, and has great ball control. And I think that it's a team that needs Colton Cowell in that lineup. Fortunately enough, they are deep and they have players that they can pull off the bench. But, you know, he really has, I think, in a lot of ways become the poster child and the face of this program for this season, showing that local players can contribute and continue to play.
Local Boyers, right? Well, the redshirt senior, 5 years in the program, pretty spectacular. His first year, he got to play in nine sets. He got to play in them. He didn't start them. The next year, he redshirted. The next year, he played in 23 of those. The next year, he finally got his first start. Definitely the face of the program. It just goes to show you can work hard, you can be undersized, but his willingness and his passion to do no matter what he could to get on the court has truly shown.
But, he's a really special guy because, yeah, he played a little bit his sophomore year, not much his freshman year. He talked about the redshirt. And then all of a sudden to become an All-American? I mean, you just don't hear that very often. How does that happen?
Well, perseverance, hard work. He had some great mentors. He talked about that on the side set last night. He talked about the players that he came in with. He had Kupono Faye, Jennings Franciscovic. He had Joe Worsley. He had Stein von Tilburg. He played with a lot of great players that taught him the culture and how to become a leader, but also he bought in. He wanted to be the best he could be.
Yeah, I remember, Colton was known coming out of high school, of course, known for his high jumping at the time, and he was a player that really dominated on Maui. And, he sort of walked on the team, and I thought, yeah, he's going to maybe be one of those local players that will serve sometimes, and maybe we'll see maybe in a libero position. I don't think anyone would have ever imagined the growth that this young man would have made, not only on the volleyball court, but also in the weight room, and how hard he's worked to put himself in the position that he is, to be not only one of the best players on the team, but could be one of the best players in the country. I mean, that says a lot about how hard he's worked.
Yeah, no Colton Cowell tonight, but definitely we'll see him throughout the season. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, it's the matchup, Hawaii and GCU. Oh, there you see the concourse here at the Stan Sheriff Center. Oh, lots of good grinds for the folks that are here in attendance tonight to take in Hawaii and Grand Canyon. All right, how is it there? Grand Canyon, of course, it is Raising Cane's Classic Hawaii and GCU. Let's take a look at the stat leaders now for the University of Hawaii, and their numbers are still really crazy.
Yeah, you see those hitting numbers, 414 for Golden Cowell, the hitting percentage. Pat Gaspin at 556 in the middle, really proving to be efficient offensively. And then Radha Parapunov at 273. He struggled actually a little bit last night, hitting for just over 100. We'll see how consistent he is tonight.
All right, for the Lopes, their leaders are
Well, these young men, and they are young. Camden Gianni is a spectacular player. Look to him. These players are all 6'5", and the go-to players. David Kissel, also an outside hitter, and Christian Janke. All three of those players leading the team, young team, big and strong team, very physical.
All right, let's look at the team comparisons. Keep in mind, as you see, Grand Canyon opened up their season on Thursday, so Hawaii with a pair more matches than the Lopes.
Yeah, so when that happens, obviously there's not much to divide that by. So you see sort of the digs higher than Hawaii in that category. And also, it says more about Hawaii's hitting percentage, the fact that they played 2 more matches and are still able to hit higher at 385 than Grand Canyon, who actually, I think, again, we talked about that surprise upset. A lot of people thought that they would be, this matchup going in tonight would be the 2 top teams going 2-0 into this tournament. Of course, Grand Canyon falling to Harvard on that first night of the tournament.
All right, let's talk about this matchup. We saw last night Hawaii beat Harvard. You mentioned Rado Parapunov. He struggled last night, led the team in digs and blocks, but had a number of hitting errors. So Colton Cowell kind of carried the team a bit last night. No Cowell tonight. So does that put more, I don't know if I'm going to say pressure, but expectation on Rado to have a good match?
Well, a little bit, but it's only what he puts on himself. I think sometimes he tries to just do a little bit too much, and he was really trying to annihilate and hammer that ball. Really sharp court last night and got shut down, making some unforced errors. But I think it comes down to set distribution as well.
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for a player like James Anasazi, who's worked extremely hard in 5 years as well. A player who has a ton of personality and who in the last 2 weeks has been one of the best players in Hawaii's practice gym. He has been pushing and itching to get on the court. Now's his opportunity to prove that he deserves to be here.
Well, one of the things that's interesting about him, too, he is the only player that has played in all 12 sets so far on this team. Pretty spectacular. Here you have all these All-Americans. All of them have played 10 and 11, but he's the only player who's actually played in every single set. So definitely the go-to guy.
I got to ask you guys about the uniforms, because last week Hawaii didn't have their new uniforms. They finally came in this weekend. The Under Armour apparel for the UH Warrior volleyball team. You like them? I like the green.
It's not my favorite.
Too sold.
I'm not gonna. No comment.
It's not about if you like him. It's just the players like him, I guess. And I think it's great. They've got the opportunity to go back and change them up. If they like them, they like them. If they don't, they don't. But I think they look pretty clean and pretty crisp.
I liked the Hawaiian flag a few years ago. That was a sick outfit.
Yeah, that was really good.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
All right, guys, it should be a fun one. Hawaii, Grand Canyon. 3 of us will be back in between sets 2 and 3. But coming up next, the anthem, the starting lineups, and then Kanoa and Lisa will have the call of the match. UH, Grand Canyon.
And with that, we welcome you inside the Stan Sheriff Center. Kanoa Leahy sitting courtside with Lisa Strand. Lisa, take us through the Kaiser Permanente keys to the match.
Well, for the Grand Canyon Lopes, they just need to slow Hawaii down. They're going to try to put up a bigger block and slow down that offense. Last year in the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation, they held their opponents to below .250 hitting percentage, the highest in the league. And for Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, they're just going to try to keep the momentum with Colton Cowell out and James Anastasiadis in. They're going to try to keep the momentum on their side of the court.
That's right. Meanwhile, Chris McLaughlin also out, had some family responsibilities to tend to, so Lisa filling in, and the Lopes strike first. They come in 1-1, having lost on the opening night of this Raising Cane's Rainbow Warrior Classic to Harvard, and then last night was able to get it back on track with a sweet victory over Emmanuel. The Hawaiian Financial FCU starting lineup scrolling at the bottom of your screen. Here is Rado Parapunov with his first attempt. Rattled around, and it finally trickles down to the Terraflex for a Hawaii point. You will see in the starting rotation for the first time in his career, James Anastasiadis, you mentioned it, Lisa, playing in place of Colton Cowell, who was not medically cleared to play this evening, but a special moment, a 5th-year senior from Huntington Beach, California, a guy who was born in Cyprus. He has waited his turn, and he gets a chance to be a starter here in this ultimate night of the Rainbow Warrior Classic. Philip Humler with his first swing. It's dug up tight to the net and then touched over by Camden Gianni. And how about the big southpaw swing there by the setter Jakob Tella, but it goes long. Line judge calls a touch, however, and so it is a Hawaii point.
A little bit of a late call, but Jakob Tella is showing his versatility, if you will, the 6'6" lefty, turning and swinging high and off the hands for the point.
Well, Matt Worley, 5th-year head coach for Grand Canyon, doesn't like the touch call, he will challenge it. And so we have played 3 points, and we are already going to the review system.
Incredibly early challenge, if you will, this early in a match when you only get 3 for the entire match.
Remember, a bit of a tweak to the system, though, this year. They're aligning it a little bit more with the international rule, where if a challenge is won, that challenge is then kept by the coach that issued it. So that's a little bit of a difference that we have seen in previous years and in the women's game as well.
Well, that's a great opportunity then to be able to, if you feel strongly enough about the call, to pull it out and make the call.
And these touch, no touch replay reviews, always the most difficult. If there was a touch, it looks as though it would be David Keischel, number 22, 6'5", redshirt junior.
And what you're looking for really is like a deflection on of the fingers or the ball moving up. Look closely to see if the ball changes its trajectory.
Or if you can see a finger get bent back or something along those lines.
And what they found is in doing these challenges, the average challenge review takes 1 minute and 30 seconds, a little long, in my personal opinion.
So Ernie Ho is taking a look at it. He is the official down on the Terraflex. Dan Hironaka is the R1. Atop the ladder, the line judges Ryan Scudder and Dean Tamura. Here is the ruling from Ernie Ho, and it is confirmed. A touch, and thus a point for Hawaii. And so in that instance, Matt Worley loses that challenge. He only has 2 left unless we go to a 5th set, in which case each side gets 1 extra.
He still maybe doesn't quite agree with the call, shaking his head with a smile on his face as well.
Matt Worley likes making this trip. They recruit actively in the islands. They have a local boy on their team in Avery Enriquez, who we will likely see here as this match progresses. The out ball gives another point to Hawaii. 3 serving 1, and it is Rado Patapunov to serve. And there is Avery Enriquez. It seems as though every volleyball program on the men's side at some point has had an Enriquez.
Basically, I think you're right. Twin brother that plays for Concordia Irvine as well.
A big family, very talented volleyball family. As that one is hit into the net by Ian McLean. And Hawaii off and running here for serving 1. The Rainbow Warriors coming in, the number 1 ranked team in the country. Off to a 4-0 start. They have yet to drop a set, and they have looked dominant. But again, having to adjust to the absence of Colton Cowell, this will be an interesting test for them. And I know Charlie Wade actually a little excited perhaps to see how his team will respond.
I think absolutely a little bit of adversity in the lineup definitely gives opportunities to other players.
Flying in from the back row was Christian Janke, 6'5" sophomore from Carlsbad, California, coming off of an 8-kill, 3-ace performance against Emmanuel last night. Now, what you will notice about the Lopes is they have some heavy swingers, and they have some high flyers as well.
Very physical, very tall team.
Oh, Rado Patapunov, a pretty heavy-handed swinger as well. Good dig there by Heath Hughes, the setter. And it results in a free chance here for Hawaii. Tella, jump set to Gassman. He didn't catch it flush. The timing wasn't necessarily on par with some of the other connections we've seen, but it was enough to get it down, and Hawaii up for 5-2.
That's right, because when Pat Gassman does connect, it's time to put your helmet on.
That's right.
At 6'10", let me tell you, this young man can annihilate a ball, not only from the front court, but from the service line as well.
Hit 444 last night against Harvard. He's hitting 556 on the year. I mean, some of the percentages that we're seeing here, very early this season, but from there's gaudy, to say the least. Philip Humler, another one, he's hitting 429 here coming in. 3 aces on the season. First touch there by Janke. He'll get the bump set. 3 blockers up. He tried to tool it, but he wanted a touch. No touch is called. And so another point for the Warriors.
Janke looking for a touch. He had 3 blockers up on him, and he's definitive that they touched it. But I don't. There's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, the Janke and I think some of the other GCU players urging Matt Worley on to go ahead and challenge it, and so he will challenge a touch on that swing by Christian Janke. It was a little bit more of, you see, kind of just a touch shot, but does it hit Tella on that right forearm?
Sometimes a little bit of acting goes into this as well. You know, you raise your hands up and you say, no, 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 you scream, I didn't touch that. But he's definitely looked like he's trying to push it into the outside hand of Tella.
Again, you're looking for a change in direction or something. The resolution here is not necessarily ideal for the touch, no touch replay. But Ernie Ho will take a long look at this thing. And how about Matt Worley? He is not shy, has not been able to use the review table tennis paddle here yet this tournament because this is the first game that he's played that is televised, and so he is getting right into the thick of things in a hurry.
He's like he's at the craps table with a good hand, you know, playing his card real quick.
And it is confirmed, no touch. And Matt Worley in disbelief. He is incredulous again. He is down to one challenge already, and it is 6-2 in set 1.
8 points played, and he's got one challenge left. 5th season head coach, named to the under 40 coaching hotshot list.
Yeah, he entered the tournament just one win away from tying Jeremy Price for most wins as a head coach in program history. So he got that last night against Emmanuel. Hoping to get a second victory here against the #1 ranked team in the country. And a good put down there by McLean, 6'7" redshirt junior from Santa Barbara, California.
My home and Dave Soji's alumni.
That's right. A lot of connections to the Central Coast around these parts. It is 3 serving 6, and it is McLean to serve. Two-hand pass there by Worsley. And then Pat Gassman puts a hurting on it. Net violation called against GCU. So either way you slice it, it's a point for the Warriors.
That play made possible by Gage Worsley taking that first pass, that first contact, and perfect pass so that the middle can be run efficiently.
Gage Worsley, Hawaii's first team ABCA All-American libero. Gassman with the jump serve. Right side set, it goes to Kieshel, dug up on one knee by Rado Patapunov. Set goes outside, here is Jimmy. Jimmy B-team, as Charlie Wade has grown accustomed to calling him. Well, he's on the A side certainly tonight, getting his first career start, and you got to feel good for him, Lisa.
How can you not? You know, this young man has always worked incredibly hard. Cindy Lewis, in her article today, quoted him as the next man up. And he's exactly that. He comes in, he gives it 150% every single play.
Gassman put a little more gas on that serve, forces the overpass. Anastasiadis couldn't quite put it down, but then the net was able to hold that janky swing onto the GCU side. And a timeout here for the Lopes. Hawaii creating some early distance in set #1, up 9-3. Welcome back. Series record is sponsored by Aqua Aston Hospitality. Hawaii leads the all-time series with GCU 7-0. A lot of those matches, in fact, the vast majority of them occurring here in Honolulu. The last one back in 2018, it was a sweep victory for Charlie Wade's bunch. Remember, Puna Kaniho was a member of the GCU team that year. Now a volunteer assistant this past season with the Rainbow Wahine. That one is smacked down there by Kyle Thompson, a 6'7" sophomore from Orlando, Florida. He jumps out of the building, Lisa.
Well, according to his coach, he's the most improved player on their team this past season. Also, not only in the hitting aspect, but his blocking has incredibly improved this season.
Touches 12 feet on his approach. We got some high leapers on both sides here this evening. Could make for some interesting volleyball as an ace is dealt out of the deck by David Kieshel. And that was too hot to handle for Philip Humler, who is one of Hawaii's best serve receivers.
Yes, Humler coming in and taking the place of Stein von Tilburg has done a fabulous job in the backcourt so far this season.
Oh, how about that little crisscross action behind the headset from Tella to Guilherme Voss, 6'7" freshman from Rio de Janeiro, and he put good wood on that one.
You gotta like that back quick set because it really throws off the opposing blocker. Usually they stay right in front of you, and at the last minute he goes behind.
So 10 serving 5, it's Tella with the serve. Hawaii served awfully well last night against Harvard. That was a thorough swing by Christian Janke. But you look at the box score from last night, and Hawaii had 4 different servers who served the ball at least 9 times without an error. That was Anastasiadis, Jakob Tella, Philip Humler, and Guilherme Voss.
That's that first contact they talk about. From the service line, you can win or lose games.
And that one actually catches Tella. He was getting into his setter position. I think that ball may have been tailing out as well, but he wasn't able to dodge out of the way.
That's a wicked serve. It came down so fast. Janky with some topspin on it. Tella could not get out of the way.
So some fire from the service line here from the Lopes, getting them back within 3. Janky, that one goes just long, let by Worsley. And Hawaii gets the point. So back behind the service line goes James Anastasiadis. And we've mentioned it's his first career start, but I think what is remarkable about a story like this, under the circumstances, obviously, with Colton Cowell out, but here's a guy who probably could have transferred to another program, been a starting outside hitter. He is a team-first dude for sure. And here he is, getting his opportunity with the injury to Cowell to come in and be a starter and make an impact in that way. And you know he's revved up. And I think what you can tell even through warm-ups, his teammates are pretty pumped up for him as well.
Oh, they're so happy for him. You know, basically he drank the Kool-Aid. And he keeps doing refills. He's just all in. He's literally the team leader. I said this in the pregame, but he's played more than anybody in every set so far this season, but he also leads the team in service aces.
That's right.
Definitely contributing.
A rare service error, in fact, that last time behind the line. Here is Voss to serve. High ball set goes outside. It's Gianni blocked back. Now they go right side, and the big hammer swing by Kishel. It's dug up over the net and down. A block by that Hawaii front.
And this is one of the things that Hawaii talks about that they're working on in the gym more and more, is being more efficient on the pin blockers. Not getting used low and tight to the net.
Philipumler getting his paws on that one. Hawaii averaging 2.6 blocks per set here this young season. 13 serving 8. It's Voss slapping it across. Back row set. That's Janky coming and swooping in, but he misses the court wide. And another point for the Warriors. And
Grand Canyon is just really struggling offensively right now, hitting 0, flatlining it completely. A lot of unforced errors.
Actually, with that error, Lisa, they're in the negative numbers now. 0-6-7 officially. 14 serving 8. Again, out of system. Swing by Gianni, tried to go deep corner, just missed it. Long point for the Warriors. They're first to 15, and we have a media timeout. Hawaii rolling in set 1 against the Lopes. Welcome back. Let's take a look at the Jack Fact for this evening. Starts with the serve, certainly does. Hawaii has 27 service aces in their first 4 matches this season. None yet here tonight. 2.25 aces per set. Opponents have managed just 4 total aces against the Bows in 2020. Now tonight, Grand Canyon does have 2, but there is a different mentality, I think, behind the service line here by this Hawaii team. And it goes back to last year as the set goes middle to McLean and he gets it down for the Lopes. But it's a mentality of, you know, instead of going back there and sort of just jump serving, grip it and rip it type of approach, Charlie Wade likes to emphasize, hey, maybe just tack it down 1 notch. Let's get it in so that, you know, our big block up front can go to work as Pat Gassman is able to pump that one down for a Hawaii point. And also remember that if you get them out of system, that oftentimes works just as well as an ace. It's not always about the ace numbers.
That's exactly it. And it's a philosophy. Different coaches have different styles. Some want you to go back and bomb away and get them out of system by an aggressive serve. Some don't. So here you're going to see some players get a green light to go for it and some don't.
Kishel against 3 Hawaii blockers is able to tool it for a GCU point.
Kishel coming on strong last year. He got to start in the last 15 games for the team because he's just really got an opportunity and showed that he could be a starter for his team.
Yeah, he had 10 kills, hit 259. To go along with 3 blocks opening night of this tournament in the 3-set loss to Harvard. Rado Parapunar pulling the string just a little bit, taking something off of it and getting the kill. But I think that was one of the early surprises, was GCU getting swept by Harvard. This is a Lopes team that has some high expectations with a little bit of their youth now graduating to some more experience here in this particular 2020 season. And so while they are preseason picked to finish 5th with USC in the MPSF. I think they were expecting to have a better debut against Harvard. According to head coach Matt Worley, that was the worst that they've looked in the last 4 months if you go through all of fall ball.
Well, that's exactly it. He said this is the most skilled team that the program has ever had, and so their expectations were pretty high. But this team is young, and they had a lot of nerves, and Harvard is a good team, so we got to give Harvard that credit. Right. This team is good. They are still a little young, and there's a lot of nerves that go along with that.
Jack Burton now with the serve. Diving pass there by Humler, and then Tella turns on 2 and gets it down for the Warrior point.
Tella bettering the ball on that play. Not a great pass. Actually, a spectacular get off of an aggressive serve, but he couldn't do anything else but being the 6'6" lefty that he is, dumps it over on 2.
Substitution here for Hawaii, Shea Suzumoto, 5'8" freshman out of Punahou. Into the back row for Hawaii, listed at 5'8". That might even be a tad generous, I'm not sure.
But, you know, he's in for Gage Worsley right now. And that was a very unique play.
So that, according to Dan Hironaka, the R1, hit the net and then went over onto the GCU side for an ace, but Matt Worley's going to argue that it hit one of the Hawaii players before going over to the GCU side. And how about that show of sportsmanship? I think Jakob Tella went over to Dan Hironaka to admit that it hit a Hawaii player.
And that's exactly why the players have their hands behind their heads, because when Pat Gassman goes back there and drills the ball, you could really get hurt. You're right. It did hit him, and he admitted to it.
It was Tella, yeah. As Anastasiadis gets stuffed. But how about that sportsmanship there? Jakob Tella.
You gotta hand it to him. You know, why leave everybody in confusion? There is some drama out here, and there is some acting involved. But you know what? Honesty always wins.
Jakob cannot tell a lie. 13 serving 18.
Those Norwegians.
Thumb set there. Tella Torado touches it over. The save there by Hughes. So the libero taking on the setting responsibilities, and a heavy-handed swing there by Janke. MPSF all-freshman team selection a season ago puts a pounding on it, and all of a sudden GCU back within 4.
His 3rd kill on the evening, getting a little bit more excited, bringing some energy to his side of the court. They're hitting at 100 now. They're out of the negatives on the offense.
Keisha with the jump serve, and he blasts it long. So Hawaii back up by a handful. And it will be Tella back behind the line to serve.
And here you're going to see the front row on Hawaii. They put their hands behind their heads. I get that question often. Why do they have their hands behind their heads? So exactly what we just saw.
That's right. Tella, good serve, gets GCU out of system. The libero Ko Udall with the set outside to Janke, dug up by Suzumoto. Backside set, Parapunov off the block. It tightrope walks the top of the tape and finds its way out of play for another Warrior point.
Even though the Lopes know the ball is going to go to Rado, they've got 2 up on him. He's hitting a higher ball tonight than he was last night. Some unforced errors last night, but you can see he's self-correcting.
Yeah, no errors yet in this one. 3 kills. Hawaii hitting 600 as a team, just 1 hitting error as a squad. A great serve by Tella. And GCU has to scramble just to forge a return. Tella now goes backside to Rado. And that one winds up in the seats. Parapunov with 4 kills to lead Hawaii.
Parapunov with that lefty going sharp court inside the blocker's hands.
And a timeout taken by GCU. When Rado is feeling good, boy, is it scary for the opposition. That high point of contact, he can go wrist away, almost like a nozzle. He can gooseneck that thing into that deep corner. He is quite an opposite hitter, no doubt.
He is, and he sees the court so well. He sees that he's got 2 blockers on him, and it is so difficult to defend that. I don't care how big of a blocker you have. Lefties have something, and there's 2 lefties on University of Hawaii this year. Tella and him, very difficult to read.
Parapunov, winner of the Brian Ivey Award last season, given to the best opposite hitter, also the International Player of the Year for the collegiate players from outside of the United States. Let's check out the First Hawaiian Bank top 3. Tournament hitting leaders, Colton Cowell. He's getting a break here tonight. 4.75 kills per set. He was pretty magnificent prior to leaving the match last night with what appeared to be a lower leg injury of some sort. Had 13 kills, hit 423. Camden Gianni on the other side for Grand Canyon. 4.2 kills per set coming in. And Campbell Schoenfeld for Harvard. He has had a strong tournament as well. You know, these are teams in this Raising Cane's Rainbow Warrior Classic that may not resonate with the grander volleyball audience, right? But I think those in the know realize, hey, look, Harvard, they went to the NCAA tournament in 2018. Grand Canyon is a team that I think everybody feels like continues to climb and is very much on the come up. These are not necessarily easy matches, and we've seen already some upsets across the country. Some of the brand names, so to speak, have lost to teams and programs that maybe people wouldn't necessarily have on their volleyball radar. But I think the thing is Hawaii's playing so well, they make it look a lot easier than it should be.
They definitely do that. And you know what? The bottom line is every opponent out there, it can go either way any night. And that's the parity that's starting to happen more in men's volleyball. It may seem like it's easy. It's not.
Put down there by Keishel. You had USC fall to New Jersey Institute of Technology the other day. You had George Mason also pull off a win against USC. St. Francis took down Stanford as Guilherme Voss gets the kill down for Hawaii.
Well, like you were talking about earlier, Kanoa, it's like these players don't want to be number 13 or 14. Hawaii has 21 players. I mean, let's get real. That's a lot of players, and you've got to take your time and learn the culture. Some of them want to be on the court as a freshman or a sophomore. We've seen players leave this program for that reason.
Yeah.
Austin Maltotia, Brandon Rattray, they're at UCLA starting.
Outside. Gianni unable to get it down. Good dig over the net there by Worsley. Gianni a second time popped up by Worsley again. Tella sets up Humler against two blockers. Goes cross court, got the touch, and gets the point. And Hawaii up 23-15.
Gage Worsley making it look so easy. He was one of the kids stricken with the flu bug, but you would never know it. He does it right on target, which is even more scary.
Well, he is an energizer for this team.
And he's an energizer for himself as well. Right. He's got a lot of energy.
He's a Red Bull can with legs. High ball pump set. Gianni diving layout save. Worsley over the net. Putting on a show in that back row. And then the block is up. And the roof is down. Rado Palapunov saying to Camden Gianni.
Rado looked a little bit like, check out this one-arm left-handed dig by Gage Worsley. Amazing rescue ball. And then a block by Rado. Unbelievable. He did a little Michael MJ dance. He backed up real slowly. Did you see that?
He did. Also pointed down.
Yep.
Just in case there was any doubt. Aloha ball here in the first. Anastasiadis with another great serve. Middle set. Good block up there by Voss on the swing by Thompson. Keishel, easy pickings there for Worsley. So Tella, back row, Anastasiadis, touch shot, diving save there by the libero Udall, and then the block ends it as Gianni is turned back. Voss getting the gist of that one, and Hawaii putting on a block party in the closing moments of set number 1, and they take the first stanza by double digits, 25-15. Teams will swap ends. Set 2 coming up.
Rainbow Warrior Volleyball on Spectrum Sports is sponsored by Bank of Hawaii and Hawaii Honda Dealers.
Well, Rado Patapunov bringing his A game here in set number 1. 4 kills on 6 swings, no errors. He even's got a couple of blocks, got a couple of digs. Rado is on here so far this evening, Lisa.
I think what he does is he probably left last night feeling a little frustrated with his performance. A lot of, there you see his walking backwards, but you know, he's self-correcting himself. And literally being lefty, he's hitting higher tonight and going for not just straight downhill, but a smarter shot.
Well, catch the greatest plays, biggest blocks, and schedule info by following Spec Sports High on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And how do you like that? The hardware here for the Raising Cane's Rainbow Warrior Classic. That is pretty classic.
And it's signed by Charlie Wade, which he gave to every single coach as a coach's gift so they could take it back and hang it in their offices. And think about Hawaii and surfing and how they got swept here on the islands. I don't know. You're going to hang that thing up?
Maybe a painful memory for some, but Matt Worley certainly hoping his team can bounce back from a 10-point loss in that opening frame. We are seeing Avery Enriquez, the 5'10 junior out of Kamehameha, Hawaii, wearing the libero jersey and getting ready to get things started here in set number 2. And there you see some of the Enriquez family. Dad Guy, who coached him throughout high school. You have Corey, who is a former University of Hawaii player, also assistant marketing director here at UH.
And his mom, Julie.
Parapunov off the block and out in Hawaii, getting things started where they left it off.
Just keep feeding him while he's getting the kills. Go to him while he's hot. Avery's actually a junior on this team.
Go ahead.
And it looks like they've went to a 2 libero system for Grand Canyon, where Avery will come in and actually play defense. He'll actually be on the defending end.
Wow, that was an unleashing by Ian McLean. Some high cheddar for James Anastasiadis.
Some serious heat. I think Grand Canyon knows they've got to get their offense going.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about the 2 libero system. Udall a little bit better in serve receive, so he is out there when Hawaii is serving. We see Enriquez back in there to play more straight up defense as that serve goes long and they'll swap again. That's kind of interesting. You don't see that too often.
You really don't, but what happens is that it's a good system if you have one player who's a little bit better at what we call serve receive and another player who's better on reactions, defense.
Parapunov to serve. Set number 2. First touch there by Udall, the libero. And a free chance here for Hawaii, but the pass with 2 hands by Worsley was a little strong, and then Hawaii wasn't able to forward a return. So a rare miscue there on what was a free ball for the Warriors.
Just a communication error, really. Normally, the libero will try, Gage will try to take every first ball if it's what they call a free ball.
And this one is served out by McLean.
And that's unfortunate. They're causing so many unforced errors. Grand Canyon giving points away right now.
Hawaii hit 632 in that first set. They had 13 total kills and just 1 hitting error.
It's pretty impressive. 1 hitting error.
Here's Humler. Another hot serve, and GCU way out of system. Another free chance here for Hawaii. This time Worsley puts it on the money. D-set goes to Parapunov, and he pounds it off the block and out. Like clockwork.
Like clockwork, and you know, you've got to give Rado a lot of credit because he's hitting smart, and I love that they're feeding him the ball.
See what he did last night against the Crimson. Almost had a double-double with digs. That's kind of another layer to what we've seen from Rado here this year. Is he's getting a lot of digs, and they're not just sort of the perfunctory kind. He's actually making some defensive plays.
And for a big guy, that is very difficult. He plays right back. It's a hard defensive position.
Anastasiadis is blocked, kept up by Gaspin. James with another crack at it, and he gets it down. Anastasiadis with his second kill.
And actually, that was Rado who used his hands to set that ball, which is another aspect of his game, right? He's got the defense, the block, the hitting. Now he's turning into the offsetter.
Also had a pretty phenomenal save by Humler along that back line to keep that sequence alive. 5 serving 2. Hawaii looking sharp here this final night of the Raising Cane's Rainbow Warrior Classic. Humler, 66 miles an hour on the gun. Swing by Keishel, blocked back, rattled around, and it will not be returned. Hawaii putting up the wall again. Pat Gassman leading the way.
And Pat Gassman getting out and closing that block, getting out quickly. Grand Canyon's tempo is a little quick, so Pat Gassman, you can see him really concentrating and focusing on where that set's going and moving quick to the ball.
Crowd clapping in unison as Humler brings it, sends it long. The crowd sort of taking the cues, even though Milan Zarkovic once again not present tonight. He got that flu that you talked about that sort of ravaged this Hawaii team throughout the week. He got it pretty bad, and so he did not come out for any of the games here in this tournament. They want to make sure that he is healthy for the road trip coming up. They depart on Tuesday. You don't want to be getting on any long plane rides if you're still fighting flu symptoms, as that one is plugged through the block by Janke. But it's funny because he's usually the guy leading that clap and leading some of these more coordinated cheers. The crowd's picking up on it. They're well trained.
He brought that on. He started that, and it's implemented in his 7th season here coaching at University of Hawaii. He has really instrumented that clap.
We wish him the best. Hope that he feels better soon. Middle set, Gassman is blocked. Solo style by Kyle Thompson.
And that's Patrick Gassman's first hitting error. He has 3 kills so far this evening. He thought he had that. He was trying to cut it back. One-on-one solo block for Kyle Thompson.
Yeah, usually works the other way. It's Gassman getting the solo stuffs, but Thompson, the big leaper in the middle, gets the better of that battle as Kieshel sends it into the twine.
Talk about a momentum changer. You get a stuff block and then you serve into the net. You know, you just kind of shoot yourself in your own foot.
Yeah, 6th service error for GCU, and now it's Pat Gassman. Had to convince Charlie Wade to let him do this jump serve here in 2020. Charlie Wade said, you can do it, but you got to take a little something off, as you see the hang time from Thompson. Gassman can gun it. He's got a cannon back there, but Charlie's saying, well, let's compromise a little bit. You can turn up the heat from time to time, but I want to make sure that you're getting those serves in.
Yeah, I talked to him about that, and I said, I heard you got the yellow light on that. He said, no, I got the green light. I can do whatever I want. I'm like, really?
So he says, right? As Janke, another service error here for GCU.
A little contagious. You might start seeing GCU put in a couple of serving subs. At this rate, they might be better off just getting the ball over and in, giving themselves an opportunity.
Here is Jakob Tella now to serve, the 6'6" sophomore setter from Norway. D-set, that goes to Kieshel. Saved by Tella, but it sails over the net and OB. So Grand Canyon putting on a stiffer competition here so far in set number 2. They trail by just 1.
And they're hitting at 286 right now, so they've cleaned that up quite a bit.
Here is Thompson, chose Grand Canyon over Long Beach State, who was also recruiting him. Tella, oh, nice backside set to Anastasiadis. Had to readjust the approach a little bit, though, and now the swing by Gianni pulls the string, and we are tied up at 8 here in set number 2.
And Gianni, the 6'5" outside hitter who sat out last year as a freshman because he suffered a cardiac arrest.
Yeah, a remarkable story. It was one of the first practices of last season, went into cardiac arrest in the practice facility, and so the training staff on location, on site, actually saved his life. Ultimately, it resulted in him having to undergo open heart surgery, and he has made that long return and comeback back to health to where here he is as a starting outside hitter once again for this team, a redshirt freshman. Just absolutely remarkable. This is a guy who was heavily recruited out of high school, a first-team AVCA high school All-American and CIF Player of the Year. And in fact, he had a procedure done as recently as December, as they had to put a chip next to his heart just to make sure that they could continue to monitor that heartbeat. And so he's been through some stuff, and it's just really tremendous and great to see him still doing his thing on the volleyball court.
And it's pretty amazing because basically what he says is God has a plan, that the trainer was there, that it happened there, could have happened anywhere else. They administered the ADU and brought him back.
Rado Parapunov just crushing it right now. Puts Hawaii up a deuce with his 7th put down.
And Grand Canyon can't seem to figure out how to slow him down. We talked about that as one of the keys to the game, slowing the offense down of Hawaii. So far, he has 7 kills tonight and no hitting errors.
Yeah, hitting .636. Anastasiadis with the serve. A good one. Good pass, though, by Gianni. Keishel comes swooping in, but he sends it long. No touch up front. And so this is sort of the pattern that we have seen, right? Throughout the first 4 matches for Hawaii, we've seen some competitive early portions of sets, but it seems to be, whether it's Tella or Anastasiadis, or maybe even Humler, one of these guys in the service rotation, they'll put together a run and Hawaii creates some distance.
That's right, and setting up that separation is huge, because in this rally scoring system, it is very hard to come back when you get to 4 or 5 separation.
Block was up there on Janke. Keishel took a little something off, dug up by Tella, so Anastasiadis. High ball set to Rado with 3 blockers up on him, and he still makes it work. A 4-0 Warrior run. And that's going to force a GCU timeout as Jimmy Beatty sets up his teammate Parapunov for the kill. Get in the game with on-demand highlights of University of Hawaii sporting events. Spectrum subscribers have exclusive access to Spectrum Sports Enhanced channels 13 and 1013. So Hawaii with a 12-8 advantage here in set number 2. And it continues to be James Anastasiadis making his first career start behind the service line. Another good serve. High ball set goes outside to Gianni, and the block is up. Voss next to Parapunov saying, ole.
Okay, that is one huge block. If you take a look at just these 2 players, their hands completely sealed over the net. There's not a lot of places for you to go, unless you hit high off the hands. And he knew it from the minute he got it. Voss, Big West Freshman of the Year out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Served by Anastasiadis. Bump set goes to Gianni. Wrist away, diving save. Worsley. Tella will smack it across. So Lopes on the attack. Keishel, another diving layout save by Worsley. Humler touches it across. GCU again on the attack. Gianni over the double block and in. Gage Worsley, though, is scooping up everything right now.
Gage is everywhere. He's a left-handed player, but a great one-handed layout dig. But check this out, then the right-handed dig. And you know what, I'll tell you, that's a great shot. High over the block, took a sneak peek for the kill.
Tella behind the head, middle set to Voss, it's dug up. And then plugging it through the block was Keishel. Good dig there by Avery Enriquez on the GCU side to eventually lead to that Lopes point. They're within 3.
Starting to battle, you can see a lot more defense being played. Hitters hitting around the block, not into it or out of the court.
Tella, high ball outside to Humler. Dug up by Enriquez, but nobody had his back. And that's a point for Hawaii. They're up 14-10.
Humler with his 2nd kill on the night. A little quiet offensively, but still contributing immensely, also from the service line.
So here is Guilherme Voss, as mentioned, Big West Conference Freshman of the Week, following his performance in the first 2 matches against Charleston, as Gianni goes up over that big block proposed by Gassman and Humler.
Gianni starting to get a little bit more comfortable, still hitting in the negatives, though, for his team.
Yeah, he gets a lot of swings, that's for sure. Had 33 attempts, 13 kills against Harvard on night 1. Already got 13 swings here tonight, and Gassman, just Mr. Efficiency, right? That's only his 5th attempt. He's got 4 kills, and that leads us to the set 2 media timeout. Hawaii reaches 15 first. They lead by 4 here. Pat Gassman, now a senior, doing his thing. Well, gear up for a little bit of prep hoops. The girls of the OIA take to the court as Mililani takes on Lelehua Tuesday at 7:15 p.m. only on Spectrum OC16. High school hoops in full mode here at this juncture of the new year. Rado Parapunov with the jump serve. And the block is up again. Gassman next to Tella. Return to sender.
6'6" and 6'10" respectively. Grand Canyon's got to figure a way to go up, over, around, or somewhere, but you can't go through it.
I mean, Joe Worsley could get up. And he got his share of blocking numbers for sure, but that's something that Jakob Tella brings to the table, that 6'6" frame. And Rado Panapunov, he brings that to the table. A laser beam serve and an ace, the first of the match for the Rainbow Warriors.
And Rado, that lefty again, serving from left side with some topspin on that ball and serious heat behind him.
I mean, what do you do? I mean, if he's lighting that thing, what do you do?
It's a scary thought is what that is.
Took a little something off there. Backside set goes to Kieshel, dug up by Worsley. Humler, the dink, pancake save, great layout there, Heath Hughes. But then the block is up again. Trying to touch it past was Janke, nothing doing. Gassman just eclipsing the sun above the tape.
But the play of that play was Gage Worsley in that dig. Not only did he dig that ball, which was scary, it was a hard-driven ball. He dug it right to the setter. Talk about transition volleyball. That's pretty sweet.
That is amazing, as Patapunov tried to go line and misses wide. But yeah, Gage Worsley, I mean, that wasn't a full flat platform dig. That was just sort of knuckled right on the money to the setter. He is something special.
He really is. Eric Soji, award winner, defensive player, first team All-American, a junior this year.
There he is, laying out on the first touch. Patapunov misses wide, tried to go line. He thought it was in. Both the line judge and Dan Hironaka calling it out, but I think the Hawaii player is going to urge Charlie Wade to grab that ping pong paddle and challenge that in-out call.
It's pretty funny when the players actually realize that that it was called against them. It's almost like, I'm going to tell on you, and they run over and they point to the coach like, no, no.
That's right.
It was in, it was in.
Except for Jakob Tella. He will tell it like it is. He will tell the official that he touched the ball before it went out.
Well, he doesn't want to wait a minute and 30 seconds for the answer.
Well, let's see if we can tell from this angle. A little bit hard to tell with the line judge there, but it is awfully close. And I mean, that's right on, the line judge is right on top of it there.
And the thing is, that ball is coming so fast and so hard. You have to make such a quick decision. Not only if it's in, but did it touch the blocker's hands as well? I don't think that's the challenge.
This becomes one of those where just because of where the ball hit, maybe this angle helps, but I'm not sure if we have a good enough look to be able to overturn it. From that angle, it does look like it hits that sideline though, but I'm not sure how accurate you can assume that freeze frame to be. This might be one of those where just the impediments of and the obstruction of some of the angles are going to dissuade Ernie Ho from retracting this call.
I can't agree with you more, but I have a solution to this whole problem of whether it's in or out. We either make the lines maybe 8 inches in fluorescent pink.
Okay.
Or we make them 1 inch. So it makes it really obvious.
Okay. All right.
What do you think?
Oh, yeah, we can like lace them with chalk so that there's a mark on the ball or something.
There we go. I mean, it is really hard to tell on that angle.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible.
And I think not enough there to convince Ernie Ho that he could justifiably overturn the call. So it remains a point for GCU. They trail by 5. 13 serving 18. Here it comes from Jack Burton. Little scramble play for Hawaii. Humler resets the feet. Good one-hand save there by Gianni. The swing by Kieshel coming. Gassman getting his fingertips all over these swings by the Lopes. There it is again next to Humler. Centered and then sent over. Free chance here for Hawaii, but it's going to be a 4-hit violation called against GCU. There was an extra hit in that mosh pit somewhere, and so another point for Hawaii. But that defensive front for the Warriors right now, they are getting hands across America.
And you know what? They're having fun. They're in system. They're closing up the block. And Grand Canyon is really struggling getting around the block. They're putting a lot of pressure on the offense of Grand Canyon, who is now currently hitting at 0.91.
19 serving 13. Middle set, and Thompson sends it long.
You know what's interesting is that Grand Canyon's passing is actually pretty good. I mean, they are passing on target, but the hitting errors or into the block has really been their struggle tonight.
And that's one of those where it becomes an avoidance swing, right? Thompson trying to avoid Gassman in the middle, and he ends up sending it long or wide. And Hawaii now up by 7. The psychology of the game, right?
That's it.
Hawaii now with 7.5 total team blocks. That time, Gianni was not weary of the block across the net. He just rips into it. If you need tickets to an upcoming UH contest, you can visit hawaiiathletics.com, call 944-BOWS, or visit the Stan Sheriff Center box office. 3 easy ways to get your seats for exciting UH sports action. Shea Suzumoto back into the game for Hawaii. 2019 graduate of Punahou, won 4 state titles, 3-time HHSAA all-tournament team selection. And Gassman, I mean, just putting everything back onto the GCU side of the net.
It's almost like they've got to try to work the ball away from Patrick Gassman because it's 6'10" and he's really strong and penetrating the net so well. They've got to try to work the ball around him.
5 blocks now for Gassman. He has been impenetrable as he rotates to the back row. Oh, and how about that by Gianni, as if he was repelled down from the ceiling. He comes flying in for the kill.
The high school All-American who played for Wave Volleyball Club, hitting out of the backcourt. Now that might be more efficient for the team, setting the ball away from the bigger blockers where they see the court better.
High toss here by Gianni on the serve. Pass tight to the net, but Tella able to punch it over from the back row. Gianni, a little too hot to handle there for Patapunov, who was in position. You see the frustration there. He's now getting to the point where he's expecting to pick those swings up.
Yeah, he's frustrated with himself more than anything. He was in the right spot. Just let the ball get away from him.
So Christian Gianni, 6'5" sophomore from Carlsbad, California. Playing in 109 of the 110 GCU sets last year. Serves it into the twine. Service error number 8 for the Lopes, and a lot of them have been, as you alluded to, momentum killers. Just when they seem to be creeping back into it, just when they have an opportunity perhaps to put Hawaii more on its heels, that has happened.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating, I'm sure, for the coaching staff as well, but this is, we've got to remember, a very young team. They've got, 6 freshmen. They got 18 returning players, though. 7 sophomores. Pretty young what's on their court right now. Just a lot of unforced errors.
Grand Canyon, based in Phoenix, Arizona. Most of their programs compete in the Western Athletic Conference, men's volleyball in the MPSF. Began as an NAIA program, transitioned to NCAA Division II in the 90s, became Division I in 2013, and moved from the MIVA to the MPSF upon the splitting up of the MPSF 2 years ago. And here they are, 1-1 in 2020. Let's send it over to Ryan.
Hey, thanks, Kono. Well, here on the Hawaii sideline, the coaching staff really just trying to reinforce the hand positioning of Hawaii. They like what they're doing on the outside. They're still saying, though, Hawaii has got to do a better job at the middles and really maintaining a strong hand positioning. Funny enough, in that last challenge that head coach Charlie Wade pulled out, calling that ball that Radopower Punov hit down the line in, his son, actually, Kainoa, is sitting in the front row over by that sideline and was telling his dad not to pull the challenge card. Charlie Wade overruled it, and looks like his son, though, had the right call after all. Back over to you guys.
Gotta listen to your kids.
That'll be discussed over the dinner table one of these upcoming nights. Hawaii will be hitting the road on Tuesday, though. They will have a pretty formidable road trip, wouldn't you say? They play at Lewis on the 17th, at Loyola the following night, then at Lincoln Memorial and at King to round out what will be an 8-day road trip. You saw his son Kainoa there.
And I'm sure that he saw it and has been around this game from day one, since Coach Charlie has been coaching for 11 years here now at the University of Hawaii men's.
Gianni sent it over with the left hand, almost handcuffed Worsley in the process, and then they're going to call Anastasiadis for the mishit. So GCU not quite done. We talk about the Lopes as an up-and-coming program in many respects. They're still fairly young as it pertains certainly to Division I sports, but They have incredible facilities and resources over there at the Phoenix campus. And in fact, they were 5th in the nation last year in attendance, even though they play primarily in a gym, analog gym, that holds only 1,500 capacity, as you see. Ian McLean putting in some work atop the tape here defensively for the Lopes against Rado Parapunov.
They're truly a pretty young program, but they're also just trying to create their culture. And they've got a really good following, 5th in the nation in attendance, and a lot of student activity.
Nice job tooling the block there by Anastasiadis. And in fact, this year, Grand Canyon will play 6 of their home matches in GCU Arena, which is the bigger facility, usually monopolized by the basketball programs, but it seats 7,000. And if you have seen any GCU home games for basketball on TV, their student fan base is known as the Havocs. And man, they are wild. They create an incredible atmosphere, and everything is choreographed and coordinated, and it is a show, let me tell you, as Camden Gianni puts on a show on that attempt, just mashes it. And Grand Canyon not quite done yet here in set 2.
And that was absolutely his best hammer down for the evening. Maybe he's just getting started, not sure. Back to where they play. You know who the mascot is for the Antelopes? Thunder. Yep, rooted in the rumbling sound of the antelope herd.
Well, their basketball head coach on the men's side is Dan Thunder Marley, so I guess there's a little bit of poetry there as well. Boom there, able to deliver from the outside, and Hawaii sits on aloha ball here in set number 2. Now, we give them credit for being 5th in attendance, but of course, Hawaii last year dominated in the realm of fan attendance. It wasn't even really that close. Hawaii was number 1 in the country, and of course those late season sellouts certainly helped the deal. But there's a pretty awesome atmosphere here at the SSC as well.
Pretty huge, averaging 4,000 so far this season.
And that one hit inside the end line by Gianni.
I think Gianni just got his 2nd win. A little bit of thunder coming out of those spikes.
It's been the theme here. Tickles the tape. Gassman has to go down to his knees to retrieve it. Parapunov then goes off the block and down. Rado with his 9th kill of the match puts an end to set number 2. Hawaii takes it 25-20. And so on this final night of the Raising Cane's Rainbow Warrior Classic, Hawaii will have an opportunity to crack open the Maroon Closet. Welcome back. Let's take a look at McDonald's match statistics. Hawaii up 2-0, and they've been pretty dominant once again, Lisa.
Well, what's scary is the kill percentage, again, hitting over 400. And what I really like is the blocks. Their blocking has been phenomenal tonight, really shutting down Grand Canyon. The Antelopes struggling to get around Hawaii's blocks.
So back here inside the Stan Sheriff Center courtside next to Lisa Strand, I'm Kanoa Leahy. And Lisa, remember Hawaii doing this without the services of Colton Cowell. Seemed to tweak maybe a knee or some part of his lower leg last night. He is not available for action tonight. James Anastasiadis getting the start in his place. 3 kills, has played pretty well. And maybe we have a chance here to see, depending on how Charlie Wade feels, some of the other reserves here in this 3rd set.
Well, there's the potential to see them, but I think for now, I think Coach Charlie Wade and staff will probably stay with the starting lineup because Grand Canyon is not going to go away easily. I think they're finding their system. They're young. They're just getting in the groove. And I think Coach Charlie Wade and staff, again, will stay with their starting lineup for now.
Rado Parapunov leading the way with 9 kills for Hawaii. As you saw, hitting .432 for the match compared to a .03 for Grand Canyon. And that was part of the reasoning last night against Harvard. Charlie Wade, first off, I think having a lot of respect for Harvard, also a lot of respect for GCU. But part of the reasoning last night, keeping his starters in, is said, hey, look, they played 1 set on the opening night against Emmanuel. We're gearing up for this road trip. We're going to be playing in a couple of tough locations here this upcoming week. We kind of want to get our starters some reps and some action here. And so that was part of the decision-making process last night with the starters playing all 3 sets. And here they are here at the onset of the 3rd frame, where it seems as though he may be thinking along the same lines.
I think absolutely. You want them to get familiar and have more opportunities to be on the court and know the systems and exactly where they belong. And I think the more they play together, the more comfortable they're going to get.
Guilherme Voss getting things going with the opening serve here in set number 3, and he sends it long. Guilherme Voss. That is not his entire name. In fact, Voss isn't actually his last name. His full name is Guilherme Voss Messias dos Santos. But I think he just, at this point, feels like, you know, some of the other names get it a little too lengthy, and I think he likes the sound of Guilherme Voss. So, hey, more power to him. It's his name. He gets to do with it what he wants.
I like that name a lot. It's easier for us. I know that much.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks, Voss.
Guilherme for that. Yes, I agree. As Humler gets it down for Hawaii. One serving one here early on in set 3.
Definitely a lot of international players and names that have come through this program through the years.
How about that serve by Rado? That was wicked. Second ace of the match for Parapuno.
Well, you know what's been great is that he's been going back there, bombing ball after ball after ball, and he's got Grand Canyon on their heels back there. When he goes to jump serve, and then he took something just off, and they're all on their heels.
Had a team best 43 aces last season. There is taking a little something off Parapuno. Good dig there, only momentarily by Rado, but he was on his wallet as it was then placed down by Christian Janke. You saw the swing, Caleb Blazer getting a little bit of action here earlier. Hugo Fischer, the opposite hitter, number 19, also getting a swing there. 6'8" redshirt sophomore from Belgium, but he ends up serving it out.
And a lefty at that. And again, the lefties are very different. They're harder to read, and he may change things up when he comes around into the front court for Hawaii's block.
A minor change there in the lineup for GCU with Fisher at that opposite position. 3 serving 2. Here it comes from Humle. Set outside. And how about the lefty swipe by Janke? Led the team in kills and aces a year ago. He had to ad-lib right there, and he made it work. Janke, Sage Creek High School All-American selection. State title winner twice in his high school career. Gassman finds that end line. Again, we're seeing that behind-the-head middle set from Tella to either Gassman or Voss with high frequency here tonight.
And you gotta like that because he's mixing it up. He's starting to establish his offense, changing things up, setting high outside the big, and also behind him very well, connecting well with his middles.
I love that stat line for Gassman. 5 kills, 5 blocks. Here he is on the jump serve. Forces the overpass, and it's as good as an ace because Tella able to clean it up.
And Tella just loving that. Patrick Gassman going back and bombing away from the end line with his jump serve, taking something off of it as well. Not quite as much velocity behind that serve.
Long exhale from Gassman, and he delivers an ace. Just nasty.
You know what's amazing is that he is so happy to be in there serving. He's worked so hard to be staying in. Just let me serve, please, coach, please.
You know the wheels are turning here, right? He's had a couple of really good serves. You know he's thinking, all right, let me just send the hammer here across the net. You know he's thinking that. He hits one of his teammates in the back of the dome.
Well, he did a Hanaho. Remember earlier tonight, he did that a little bit. That's when Tella decided to tell the truth.
That's right. I don't think the officials missed that one.
And I don't think that James Anastasiadis does either. He just got pegged.
Keep your head on a swivel when it's Pat Gassman back there. Good run at the service line, though, by the senior. And another strong middle connection there. Tella to Guilherme Voss. And, you know, that's something that I think Charlie Wade wanted to see a little bit more of from Jakob Tella, is working the middles. The thing is, you know, he maybe gets into, as many setters in his position would, relying on the pin hitters like Colton Cowell or Rado Patapunov. And the thing is, there's not a lot of negative feedback when you do that because they usually make it happen.
Exactly, but then as the season progresses, you start to become predictable. And when you become predictable, teams that are bigger and stronger, the further you go up the ladder, the easier it is for them to compete with you.
Anastasiadis winning the joust at the net there. Hawaii up 8, serving 4. Patella. A little tail on that serve. Gianni, diving save there by Anastasiadis, and then Voss in that duel above the tape. Keeps this thing going. Now he gets a full swing at it. Did it get above the net? No, it did not.
Just the only disconnect we've seen in the middle so far. And I like that he's trying to force that middle on transition balls because it catches the offense, the defense off.
So 5 serving 8. And this is Heath Hughes now floating it over. Tella goes high and away. Patapunov from the left side. It doesn't really matter where you put him. The result is usually pretty similar. That is kill number 10 for Rado. He is the first player on either side into double figures, hitting a fat 500 percentage. 2 aces, 3 digs, 3 blocks. Just another night at the office for the big fella.
I think he's having fun. And I'll tell you what, the system is high to his left hand. The ball is a little higher, and he's seeing the court really well.
Bump set from the back row. Gianni gets that one saved by Anastasiadis over the net. Missed time, though, on the jump at the net. And so Hawaii with a chance here. They're scrambling, but the set by Tella to Rado. How about that?
That's the set of the night. Hands down, the set of the night. Behind him, running one way, throwing it back to Rado. And Rado, amazing. That is a very difficult coming over his left shoulder and swinging deep into that corner.
I mean, how good does that feel, though, for a setter to know, all right, let me just highball this thing somewhere in that area.
Here, you take care of him.
Rado will get a good wood on it. And Anastasiadis getting a good wood on that serve. An ace for the first-time starter. You just got to feel good for him. He has been such an incredible ambassador throughout his career for this program. And it's all smiles for Jimmy. Visit the new Spectrum store at Pearl Highlands Center above Sam's Club. Learn about Spectrum Mobile and get the best devices, latest technology, and coolest accessories. The store is open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 8, and Sundays, 10 to 6. Hawaii already creating a bit of a separation here in set 3, leading 2 sets to none. They won set 1 by 10, 25-15, took set 2, 25-20. Here they are up 11, serving 5. Gianni trying to go cross-court towards us, but he misses wide. And the lead extends out now to 7.
And for Grand Canyon, their hitting this current set is at 250. It's the best hitting percentage. Actually, they just dropped it to 125, but it's still the best percentage that they've had so far.
Grand Canyon preseason pick to finish tied with USC in the 5th position in the MPSF, according to the coaches. Anastasiadis forces the overpass on the serve. Tella goes outside. Humler cross-court and in. And Hawaii has it rolling on all cylinders right now, Lisa.
They definitely do. There are so many offensive weapons on this team. He completely terminated that ball. Humler doing a fantastic job on the outside. One-on-one opportunity.
Third-ranked BYU, by the way, the favorite in the MPSF. Defending champ Pepperdine picked 4th here in the preseason. But we've already seen some upsets, as we alluded to earlier. And so, hey, it's a long season. We're just getting revved up here. And these teams on all fronts are going to be going through some progression and some development. So buckle up.
Lots of changes, a lot of graduating seniors from Pepperdine, and also obviously Hawaii, UCLA. Things have really changed. The teams have new faces.
That's right. Here's Humler going off the high hands. And out for another Hawaii point.
He's got 6 kills on 10 swings, hitting over 550. That's a pretty nice percentage.
How about this for a nice percentage? Hawaii right now hitting 800 in set number 3.
Scary thought.
Nice a swing by Fisher, and he gets it down. Hugo Fisher redshirt sophomore, previous experience with the Belgian national team. And Caleb Blazer in and back to serve.
That's an interesting substitution. A 6'7" middle blocker coming in as a serving sub.
Ella, that jump set to Gassman. And they have that rhythm really strong here in this particular weekend. Hawaii to 15 first once again. Timeout. Welcome back. Well, the Rainbow Roofing Company certainly putting in some hours here this evening, and they've been led by Patrick Gassman as we bring you the Akamai Roofing Report. 5 total blocks for the Gassman here on the final night of the Raising Cane's Rainbow Warrior Classic.
He's doing his job up there. Big Patrick at 6'10".
Hawaii as a team, 8 total blocks. Karapunov with the serve, diving pass by Gianni. And Fisher looking pretty sharp, the southpaw going cross court and in.
A little bit of a different look, but what a tough serve and a great first pass from Grand Canyon.
So what do you think about this schedule layout for Hawaii? As mentioned, the 8-day road trip coming up, and they'll be monitoring Colton Cowell, I'm sure, here in the oncoming days to see whether or not he'll be available at any point over the course of that road trip. Parapunov with the swing and a net violation gives the point to Hawaii, but at Lewis on the 17th, at Loyola the following night, and then on the 20th at Lincoln Memorial, on the 21st at King, and then they come home and they got the alumni match on the 24th, but a little bit of time before the Outrigger Hotels and Resorts Invitational with Queens, Concordia, and UC Irvine in February. But what do you think about the layout of the schedule?
I like that layout. I think that they need to go travel to that East Coast and play those teams. I think it's huge for their RPI, and I think it's huge for their team rapport.
Chaz Galloway, a freshman on the floor out of San Diego, California. Gassman with the swing. And Galloway, just be prepared. He has extreme bounce. This guy gets up off of the Terraflex. We're talking like 45-inch vertical range.
He's the guy that Rado said, this is the young man that we really have to watch out for, because as a freshman, he's going to be an amazing athlete. Not only today, but within 4 years. 6 kills against Emmanuel on the opening night of the tournament. Fisher sends a free ball over. So it'll be Gage Worsley. High ball to Galloway. And that one is dug up in the back row by Gianni. Fisher off the block, kept alive by Worsley. Here's Galloway up the ladder and down the chute. He's not only a jumper, he's explosive, he's dynamic, and he has some incredible hang time. Look at him. Soar. He soars. There was one play against Emmanuel. It was an overpass, and he went from straight flat foot position, vertical, and he was chest high above the tape. It was ridiculous. He gets the kill there. And Humler gets the ace there. Humler is serving bullets from the back line right now. If you take a look at this, his toss is so far out in front of him, and he is going completely forward. He lands at least 4 feet inside of the court after he serves. Hawaii up 19-8. Just pouring it on here. Humler into the net. So that ends a 4-0 scoring run for the Warriors. And now we get to see Aleu Choi onto the floor. And he put in some good work for Hawaii last night. Coming in to play some backcourt responsibilities. Had a dig and an assist against Harvard. And back there in serve receive. Gets the first touch, but a little too hot to handle on the serve by Janke. And Janke led his team last year in service aces. He's going to go after Choi right now. He knows he's a younger player who just got subbed in, and that's what he's been told to do. They're calling serving areas. Let's see if he goes right back after him. New into the match, new into the program. Yeah, they're going to serve him. Here it comes again from Janke. This time he goes towards Worsley and Galloway, and that was a laser beam ace. So Janke trying to single-handedly somehow get the Lopes back into the mix here in the third. Back-to-back aces. see if he takes something off on this one.
3 aces in the match now for Gianni. Crowd making some noise. Another blasty blast. Galloway the first touch. Worsley can't get there. That is back-to-back-to-back aces for Christian Gianni. And Charlie Wade is going to signal for a timeout. Some fire from the service line.
Well, you know, it's almost like he's like, I'm just going to do this no matter what, because we need the points. And he's going for it. He's bombs away. Did you see how high he tosses that ball?
Well, he led the team in aces last year, had 27. He's got 4 now in this match alone, including the last 3 points. I mean, even in slow motion replay, that thing looks like a laser beam.
Well, it definitely is. You know, Grand Canyon, we talked about a little bit about Puna Kaniho. You said he went to school there, but they also recruit other players. He's in the record books for assists. So is Sky Engelman for digs, and Cullen Mosier for aces. So they really love coming to Hawaii. They like their Hawaii boys. And again, this team with Avery Enriquez, they're just coming up. They're a young team. They're growing their school, their college. They're new to the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation. You know, there's a lot of upside to this team.
As you see Enriquez back out onto the floor, 3-time BIIF champ at Kamehameha, Hawaii. I mentioned 4 brothers. He's one of 5, but 4 brothers. All 5 of them have played Division I college volleyball.
That's right. Evan at Stanford. He was also a libero. Corey, his older brother, here at University of Hawaii. There's one that played Emmett at Cal State. Cal Baptist, and then they stopped their program. He transferred to Cal State Northridge. And then Avery's twin brother, identical, God, they're close, played Concordia Irvine. A lot of boys, a lot of volleyball.
Yeah, a lot of really high-level volleyball, too.
That's right.
They, as a family, went on a tremendous trip over to Europe during the summer. As Galloway flying high, unable to put it down, though. The dink by Gianni and a net violation called against Hawaii, and so the run continues here for GCU. They've ripped off 5 in a row to get within 6.
And all behind the serving of Gianni, who's really putting a lot of pressure for Hawaii to take care of that first opportunity, that first pass.
This one handled by Worsley. Middle set, Gassman gets it down in that deep corner.
I'll tell you, Gassman is slicing and dicing the ball. He's going from corner to corner. He's picking and choosing where he wants the ball. He's seeing the court extremely well.
So Gassman now with 8 kills on 9 swings, hitting .778. And he's now back to serve. And it's a good one. In fact, it's an ace. Pat Gassman with his 2nd ace of the evening.
Taking a little something off of it. I think maybe he got the yellow light, kind of red light, like take something off of it, keep it in, don't hurt anybody.
Has made contact with a couple of his frontline mates already. Pair of occasions here tonight. Middle set, and that is Thompson missing the floor wide. Point Hawaii up 22-13 here in the 3rd. The Rainbow Warriors seeking their 22nd straight home win. Going back to the 2018 season, they went 16-0 at home last year. Hawaii also now, because of last night's victory, 50-4 in the Stan Sheriff Center since the start of 2017. So they have reigned supreme, certainly, in this building. And part of the reason why they have played so well is certainly this crowd. You heard Colton Cowell talk about it in the game on portion of the broadcast. He says, you know, we have maybe the best support system, a crowd that just really empowers us as players on the floor. They seem to know when to turn the volume knob up. They seem to, because they are so akamai about this game of volleyball, they just seem to know what buttons to push as a support system for the players on the Terraplex.
Absolutely. And you know what? They they're a big part of this. They built this culture. They've encouraged all these people that are here to come out, and they always are gracious. They stay, they sign autographs, they spend quality time with the kids and the community. They always are giving back. So they love the Stan Sheriff Center and playing here at home. 2 sellout crowds last year. Pretty phenomenal. The real challenge will be when they go on the road and there's like maybe 100 people in the stands at a couple of these places. It's cold. Calls don't necessarily go their way. I think that's the real challenge of a good team, when you can put it all together, whether you're at home or on the road.
There's Colton Cowell. Hawaii playing without his services tonight, taking the necessary precautions to make sure that they don't aggravate any further what appeared to be a lower leg injury suffered against Harvard last night. But he is certainly optimistic about getting back sooner rather than later. Well, James Anastasiadis making his first career start tonight in his place, performing admirably, and this Warrior team continues to dominate. Gassman unleashing another 6-serve. And then the roof is up. False, and Tella turning it back.
Well, they were talking about working on their blocking and that they were slowly getting it. Guess what? I think they got it.
That's block number 9 for Hawaii tonight. 23 serving 13. Middle set, Thompson. Block got a good chunk there. Sotella, high ball bump set. Here's Galloway with the left hand, sends it down the line. It will be returned, but another free opportunity here for Hawaii. Gassman the first touch. Tella outside. Galloway! Dug up over the net and we play on. May have been an out ball played by Choi there. Gassman from the back row. Are you kidding me?
That is no kidding you. That is Pat Gassman calling for the big. He called the first play. They didn't set him, and he was screaming for the big on the second play and got it.
And so they rise here at the SSC. It's Aloha ball for the match. Hawaii plays it on its side. Choi sets up Rado. The finisher. Hawaii makes it 22 straight here at home as they pull off the sweet victory. E kahi e lua aloha at the SSC, claiming the Raising Cane's Rainbow Warrior Classic title.
Just an incredible victory for this team, hitting at 7 for the match. 5:23, but for that last game, 7:14.
Yeah, that final frame was just Hawaii at perhaps its sharpest. And that's pretty scary when you think that all of that came without Colton Cowell on the floor. Here's the last point. Eleu Choi making like his older sister Bailey and setting up Rado Parapunov, who demolishes the final point of the match and then raises Eleu high in triumph.
This team is definitely a huggy bunch, aren't they?
They certainly are. Even when Milan Zarkovic isn't here because he is home with the flu, this is a team that just seems to really genuinely enjoy playing alongside one another. You can sense these, in many cases, are going to be friendships that will last a lifetime. And here they go with the celebratory dance. For good reason. Hawaii off to a 5-0 start, yet to drop a set here in 2020. Bank of Hawaii presents the players of the match. Christian Janke gets the nod for GCU. 9 kills, hitting 222, 2 digs, and 4 aces. And Rado Parapunov, 13 kills, hit 579. 3 blocks, 4 digs, 2 aces. As Hawaii takes the title here in this weekend's tournament action. Scott Robbs is corralling head coach Charlie Wade. Let's send it over to them now.
Coach, congratulations. Another impressive win. I thought your serving and your blocking were outstanding.
Yeah, the serving, are what I would say well-myelinated. We've spent a lot of time with guys. We got guys that are fifth-year guys, been really put a lot of hours into it, and serving looks good. We put a lot of pace on it and served inbounds a very high percentage tonight.
All right, second week is Powell now. How do you assess where your team's at?
We're pretty good. We're really not. We're just trying to kind of go day by day and keep getting better. We know in no way is this an unfinished product. We got a lot of work to keep improving. It's a long season. So, happy with the performance tonight and just looking forward to get back in the gym and getting better.
All right, now 4 straight road games to the cold Midwest. What are you looking forward to seeing from your team?
Well, it's just, it's a little different, how you handle things in the moment, on the road against some quality opponents and just see how we responded. Obviously, this week we passed the test pretty good, and next week brings a whole new set of challenges.
Congratulations.
Tough day for purple teams, huh?
Oh,
tough day for the
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Back over to you, Kanoa.
That's right, Grand Canyon. Base color is purple. They were wearing primarily the black jerseys tonight, but yeah, if you go through the NFL playoff action, tough day for the teams wearing purple. A Saturday to forget for those squads, as it would be. Lisa, I'll give you the last thought here. Most impressive thing that you've seen this weekend from this Warrior bunch.
I think the cohesiveness of this team, lots of new faces, but you gotta love it. 20 players out of 21 got the opportunity to jump in and contribute this weekend, and they just look like they're continuing to have more fun and gel as the season progresses.
Well, the all-tournament teams to be announced here shortly, and then the presentation of the hardware for this weekend's action. Hawaii, the champions of the Raising Cane's Rainbow Warrior Classic. The corner crew, with I believe you're a part of that, right, Lisa?
Okay.
They'll be breaking everything down here in our post-game show, so don't forget about that. So Lisa's night's not Powell, but for now, I'm Kanoa Leahy. Until next time, everybody, we bid you aloha from the Stan Sheriff Center.
Highlights of White Grand Canyon. We start off with Patrick Gassman, the big guy in the middle, had another great night. 9 kills, hit 800 on the evening, and was in on 5 stuff for the Warriors. But don't forget, he's pretty good behind the service line as well, as you see one of his 2 service aces on the night. Defensively, Gage Worsley, a returning first-team All-American from a year ago, showed why he is an All-American as he picked up 10 digs on the night. Look at that spectacular one-hand save. Gets the cover right there on the dig. And Rado Parapunov, after not having quite the Rado evening last night, responded big time this evening. 13 kills for the Bulgarian, hit 579. He also contributed 2 aces on the night, but nothing like that big left-handed swing from the back right for Rado as Hawaii wins in 3 over Grand Canyon. That's 5 in a row to start 2020 and 15 straight sets won.
This is the post-game show on Spectrum Sports.
Hi, everybody. There you see the Hawaii members of the all-tournament team. Jacob Pella, Colton Cowell, Patrick Gassman, and Rado Parapunov just named the most valuable player. Hi, everybody. Scott, Lisa, and Ryan. So Hawaii, as we kind of suspected, motored through the weekend and punctuated it with a really impressive win, I thought, tonight over Grand Canyon.
Yeah, I think it's really evident when you look at that hitting percentage of Hawaii, hitting over 500 for the evening. It really goes to show you that regardless of what opponents were doing on the other side, and that Hawaii was still very efficient, hit for a high percentage, and without potentially their best player, one of their best players in Colton Cowell, not playing, Hawaii still finding ways to win and win convincingly.
I think it really started from the service line. They were so aggressive from the service line, and it allowed them to set up their block, which was pretty efficient as well with 9.5. Those 2 key factors, I think, were just complete game changers for tonight's match.
And I thought it was good to see Jakob get on the all-tournament team. We talked so much going into this year about the start of a new setter, a young setter, Intella, who's only a sophomore, and we've seen the improvement from week 1 to week 2.
Yeah, I think he's getting more and more comfortable and getting more involved in finding out what sets work for his teammates. And, you could see at times there were a lot of out-of-system plays tonight, passes off the net, and he found ways to put up a hittable ball for his for his go-to guns. And again, without Colton Cowell, he had to find ways to get other players involved. He was able to get the middle attack going, and I think it's evident when you look at Patrick Gassman's number tonight. Really had a great night as well.
And really, Gassman's been good all season. I mean, he realizes this is his senior year, and he's taking advantage of it.
I think that's exactly it. When it's your senior year, you step it up quite a bit. I mean, we saw that last year with the seniors, but this year, Patrick Gassman, a fifth-year senior, he's had time in this program, and I think he really just wants to be the best Patrick Gassman that he can truly be.
All right, let's take a look at the final numbers. They're brought to you by Levitt, Yamani, and Solder. Look at the hitting percentage of Hawaii tonight, guys. That's insane.
523, and again, it says a lot about the low errors. You can see 6 errors on the night, and you have to think that has come, of course, on 4 blocks. So 6 of those errors came on 4 blocks. So 2 balls were hit out.
Yeah, right.
It's incredible. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, and you know what's even more crazy is that this is actually a good Grand Canyon team. It wasn't like they weren't challenged at all. It's just that Hawaii really shut them down tonight. They really did.
You know, you saw the 6 service aces for Hawaii, but sometimes that doesn't tell the story. You kind of mentioned it, though. How many times you had a bad receive of a serve on the Grand Canyon time and threw them out of system? It happened a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that doesn't go down in the stat book, of course, the service aces that we're seeing here will. But oftentimes, it really creates an opportunity for your block to get set up. So when the passers are passing bad and there's not a lot of options, the opposing team is just going to go to a high ball. And Hawaii's blockers have really worked on getting 3 blockers up, challenging the attackers, and that oftentimes equates into a point.
All right, we got to give some love to James Anasazi. The 5th-year senior got his first start tonight for Colton Cowell, and I thought he handled himself pretty well out there.
I thought he handled himself great. I said it in the pregame. He's played all matches so far this season. The only player who's played in every single set this far, but he's such a team player. He's been persistent, he's been tenacious, and he's taken advantage of the opportunity that he's been given.
And one of those reasons why, of course, that he's played in every set is because he's a serving specialist, so he may only play for 1 play, but he's still contributing in that factor. You know, coming into the season, he realized that it was going to be, again, a challenging position being on the outside with the depth of Hawaii's talent, and so he made it a point to really strengthen his service game because he knew that was his ticket on the court. He's continued to do well there, and tonight had an opportunity to play 6 rotations.
It's really hard to find anything negative to say about this team to this point of the season, but what are some things you'd like to see them maybe do better?
Well,
that's a good answer.
Okay, so I will say, you know, you make this all-tournament team, you get all these players in there, but the one thing I will say that is often overlooked is the libero position. And I will say that Gage Worsley, not only is he digging balls, but he's taking that first contact, whether it's on serve receive or a free ball, and making those players have opportunities to get their kills. So sometimes I'm shocked personally that there was no libero on that all-tournament team, because without a libero, to me, it's not a complete team.
I think that one of the things that Hawaii can work better on is their block. I mean, they had 9 tonight, but there are definitely times where there was some misassignments and just some misreads at times where they had opportunities to be a little tighter on the block and they got beat inside. That's going to be something that I think will come with time as these wing blockers and these middle blockers that may be new to each other get sort of used to with the timing and the cadence. So I think if there's any area that may be the biggest area that needs to be sort of improved is sort of the blocking. And then the transition game, I think there's some ways that they can really clean up the transition dig. Sometimes they try to be a little too accurate, and it actually becomes a disadvantage because the passes are so tight.
All right, Hawaii's 5-0 here to start 2020. We'll take a break. Come back. We'll have more here from the corner as UH wins in 3.
Welcome back to the post-game show on Spectrum Sports.
All right, now that the homestand is pal, let's look forward to the opening road trip of the season. Hawaii 4 games away from home. Starts off on the 17th at number 6 Lewis, followed the next night at number 11 Loyola Chicago. Then they play Lincoln Memorial and King before returning home next month. That's going to be a tough matchup for Hawaii. Definitely the competition gets tougher after what we've seen the last 2 weeks.
Well, I think it's perfect. I mean, don't you want more competition? They've basically swept every single team. Oh, yeah, they gave 20 points away tonight. Oh, no. I think that's what this team needs. I think they need to be challenged, and especially on the road, because it's going to build the character. It's going to show who's going to show up and who's not going to show up.
And I think it'll be a really good test to see where they rank amongst the rest of the country. You know, this team had success in the preseason when they were playing in California in tournaments and really beat up on every West Coast team a few months ago. And now they're going to have the opportunity, now that they're actually in season, to play teams that are ranked and really gauge themselves to see where they're at. There's a lot of talk in town and a lot of people saying, is Hawaii really the #1 ranked team in the country? We'll know for sure after next weekend, having those kind of challenges that they're going to be presented with.
And I like now that Hawaii's in the Big West. It allows non-conference road trips, and Charlie has not been afraid to do that. And I think it has shown the last couple of years how it's helped the program.
I think in the long run it really has. It's almost like their preseason is almost their real season. It shows you, like Ryan was just saying, where they really line up. They did that preseason team up tournament up in Santa Barbara and got to see where teams were early on. But when you head back to the other side of the continent and play teams as the #1 ranked team, everybody's coming after you. And so they really have to be on their game.
And you think about last season, right? Long Beach State had that #1 title, and there were a lot of people gunning for them. They ended up losing at USC in 3 straight sets that really vaulted Hawaii back into that #1 position. So it's a team that lost to USC. A lot of people were scratching their heads thinking, how can they lose to USC? But again, it's hard being #1, and Hawaii is going to experience that. Everyone's going to come after you. Everyone is going to be gunning for you. And really, it doesn't matter if you have a number in front of your team name. Everyone's going to try to play their best game against you.
You know, though, I mean, granted the teams they played came in here knowing that they would be huge underdogs, but I don't see this team wilting under being ranked #1. It doesn't seem like they even think about the fact they're #1. Do you get that feeling?
I don't get that feeling, but I think it's in there. It's somewhere in there. They know that people are coming after them. Being #1, how can you not know that?
Yeah, and I think it really comes down to the leadership of this team. How do they manage the expectations of everyone else and all of the noise that comes around with being #1? It's a pretty big deal, obviously. And a lot of times, we got to think that there's a lot of young players on this team as well. So being able to manage the responsibility that really it is to be #1 and how to produce on top of that.
All righty, so Hawaii gets ready for their first road trip, but tonight they're celebrating as they win the Raising Cane's Classic and go to 5-0. We'll have a guest when we come back.
Welcome back to the post-game show on Spectrum Sports.
All right, we're back here in the corner, and joining us, we couldn't be happier for you. A guy that has sweated in gyms 1 and 2 and Clum, I'm sure.
I completely forget that a lot of our freshmen and sophomores have not been through the dread of gym 1 back when.
Before
the AC.
Yes.
AC is very nice. I'm not going to lie. I only have to take 2 jerseys to practice, not 5.
James Anasazi, who's now in his 5th season, got his first career start tonight. You played well, 4 kills. You had an ace. You even had a block. Talk about all that sweat that you did throughout the years to finally get that start tonight. What did it mean to you?
Honestly, words can't really explain what that opportunity felt like. And I guess the only thing that I could say is, and everyone said it, the Stan Sheriff is the greatest place in the world that you can play. You heard it from Capono and Jennings and Hendrick when they came back last year for the Big West Conference. They're out there playing overseas, and they're all just like, what I would do to play one more game in the Stand, because it truly is the most amazing experience. And I think it lived up to its expectation. When I ran out onto the court today, I was like, all right, what do shakas, yeah, okay, cool. Wow, that's a lot of people. Breathe, yeah. Words can't explain how amazing the experience was. And I just knew that with patience and hard work. I wasn't happy about the circumstances that had happened. Thank God it's a minor injury. Colton's going to be good to go as of Monday. But I just had to trust that the hard work that I put in, and I feel like I've been one of the more nervous ones whenever I went in the past. This year I was like, you know what, just go for it. It's your last year. The nerves were a little bit in the beginning, but I just got more and more comfortable with every set. It was an amazing experience. This crowd, the family that you have in Hawaii, everyone out here, I'm starting to learn a lot of our fans by name. It's just, the most amazing experience to know that there's so much love and support out here. So to be able to like play in front of that was unreal.
I have to say, before we went on the air, so I'm going to ask you about that. He goes, I don't really know what to say. I don't think I have much. I think you said it.
Yeah,
I think you said it exactly the way you feel. That's awesome.
So, I mean, you said so much, but we want to know about your new friend that you got there.
Hey, this guy, how do you think the match went?
He's pretty happy that he's in my hands and no one else's right now. I'm not going to lie.
With him.
Yeah, no, I mean, as Charlie said, this is the first championship was for this year. So to be able to accomplish our first goal of the year, you know, it's pretty amazing experience. It shows that what we've been doing in the fall and what we're doing in the spring right now is working. Everyone is getting after it. It's pretty crazy in the practice gym. As we say, there's an A side and an A+ side, and I love the A+ side with all my heart. You know, this doesn't happen overnight. This is like hours and hours of training, and you guys just see the 2 hours of it, which is nothing, but it all happens in the background.
Well, you know it because you've been in the program for 5 years.
Oh yeah, apparently I signed another 5 this year because I'm not ready to leave. So yeah, honestly, I think I'm really happy with when I came in because, as you've heard in the past, Capono, Jennings, Ian, Hendrick, that entire class just set such a good example of what it is to be a Hawaii Warrior. And we just try to do our best from what we learned from them, but also from our own experiences. Stein, Joe, Dalton, they've been some of the most amazing teammates. Like, they are the most amazing teammates I've ever played with. To learn from people your own age, to learn from people older than you, and now I'm being tested on whether did I soak it all in and I can teach it to our younger freshmen, because the legacy of like Hawaii volleyball is not going to be what we're going to do this year. It's going to be what this younger group's going to do in 2 to 3 years. And so this program's something special, and my brother's even said it. Like, he's never seen another team that has this chemistry. And it all comes from the hard work, you know, at practice. You know, I know that if I mess up, my teammate has my back. I know that if they mess up, I'm going to do anything I can to help cheer them up. So,
speaking of your brother, I think that was one of the unique circumstances that we saw, especially at the end of last season. We saw your parents having T-shirts that were made between the two of you.
We're coming out with Aloha shirts,
okay.
Hopefully, maybe.
What is that sort of been like, being able, of course, so your brother playing for Long Beach State, what has that been like growing up with him and now sort of in competing teams that play in the same conference?
Pretty crazy experience. Like, as you guys know, I grew up on a little island called Cyprus. My parents did everything and anything that they could to move us to California, Huntington Beach, my senior year of high school, which was pretty rough. It was hard leaving where I grew up, all my best friends, my senior year not being able to finish them, but I knew that was for the better. We played all the time growing up, so being able to compete against each other is pretty fun, you know? That question that you get asked, so who's better? Now we'll find out.
Hey, James, enjoy it. You deserve it. Congratulations.
I can't believe it's almost over. I really don't want it to be over.
Oh, no, you got a lot more to go.
Oh, exactly.
5 more years.
There's a lot more to go.
He's just going to stay here all night, too.
No, Ryan Calais, we're just going to start some shows. I ain't leaving the island.
That will wrap it up for us here tonight as Hawaii knocks off Grand Canyon. They claim the championship, and they move to 5-0. Special thanks, as always, to our outstanding Spectrum Sports crew. Multi-award-winning efforts every single broadcast. For James, for Ryan, for Lisa, I'm Scott. Until next time, we bid you aloha and a good evening from the Stan Sheriff Center in Manoa.